Welcome to Physician Heal Thyself, the podcast, empowering you to take a whole person approach to your well-being, spirit, soul, and body. Join me, your host, Dr. Lara, naturopathic doctor, entrepreneur, and a servant of Jesus Christ. We are not just a body, we are spirit and soul. It's time to integrate medicine and spirituality into our healing. Let's get started. Welcome back to Physician Heal Thyself, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lara, and today we're going to dive into something that might sound a little unusual, maybe a little weird. It's called tapping, also known as Emotional Freedom Technique, EFT. So this is a mind-body practice that uses gentle tapping on specific points on the body, and I'm going to show you how to do them. Whether you're watching or you're listening, I'm going to try to be as detailed to explain where are the points. But these are similar points to acupuncture points, and they help to calm the nervous system, reduce stress, and even to help process emotional pain. And so we're going to unpack how this works and how it helps to regulate your nervous system. And I'm going to guide you through a short version just to explain how to do it. And so it's just a beginner-friendly tapping session that you can do along with me. And I'll explain some other ideas of how you can integrate this. I'm sure there's a lot of videos online on talking about it. So Emotional Freedom Technique, also known as EFT, also known as tapping. It's exactly what you're doing. You are taking the first digit, your fingertips, and you're tapping into certain points in your body. And so it's just your pointer and middle finger usually is what I indicate for people to use. And you tap on certain points and places that are going to be, some do it the side of their hand. This is the pericardium, the heart meridian. And so it calms the heart. So it's right under the pinky, the first metacarpal bone. Under that first part that you would tap there. You could tap at the wrist. That's a way to start calming your heart, to regulating your heart down. And then there's on the top of your head, at the very top point of your head, that's another point that we would tap into. There's the inner part of the eyebrow, the outer part of the eye, underneath the eye, right underneath the eye on that bone. And then above your lip, underneath your lips, and then the collarbone, and then the side on your rib cage, kind of where the bra line is for women, so midpoint there. These are points that we tap in a certain order, and what this does, it creates this tapping sensation, this physical tapping sensation. It's resetting your nervous system. It's going along, obviously, the brain and the vagus nerve. And so it helps to get rid of emotions that might be trapped in the body about some things that you just might not feel safe about. And so how this affects the nervous system is, like I said, if you're under a lot of stress, if there's anxiety, your amygdala is the alarm system to the brain. And so this fires off a threat signal. And then this triggers your sympathetic nervous system to go into fight or flight mode or freeze, right? So EFT, the tapping technique, is going to send a calming signal through your body into the neural pathways that's going to help quiet that alarm system in your brain. And so there's been research that's been done on using brain scans to show that tapping while focusing on stressful thoughts can actually reduce the amygdala activity. So what we're doing is we're taking, say, for example, if I'm afraid of failing a midterm exam, right? I'm afraid of failing a test. That can be constantly in someone's mind, and it'll actually inhibit you from being able to focus on taking the test. So the technique is it's facing the issue that you're afraid of, and then replacing it with something that is true. So other studies have shown that, this is interesting, that there's measurable changes in stress hormones Like cortisol levels can drop by as much as 40% after just one single EFT session. So what typically happens when I walk a patient through this, or if I do this myself, is that you will feel calm. You'll all of a sudden feel this calmness and this peace and stillness, and then you know that, it's okay if I feel afraid of failing a test. I can still love myself. I can still accept myself. And so there's this acknowledging of the issue, but also acknowledging that I can still love myself just the way I am. And so these short, it could be as long as you want. You could do it 2-3 rounds, or you could keep doing it as often until that body switch turns off. That survival mode switch turns off. And now you're in rest and digest mode. So now you feel calm. Your parasympathetic system is now in the calm and clear, with clarity, and you're more present. And the nice thing about this is that you could do this anywhere. So why this works, right? Why does it work emotionally? So tapping works on both the physical and the emotional level. And psychologically, it's going to help you pair, like I said, a distressing thought or feeling. So it could be a thought or feeling that you have with a calming signal from the body. And over time, this is going to rewire how your brain is perceiving that trigger. It desensitizes you from the trigger, so it no longer feels threatening to you. So I want you to think of this like you're teaching your nervous system a new association. I can think about this memory or situation, and I'm still safe. I'm alive. Nothing's wrong. I'm safe. That's really what you're telling your body. So addressing that distressing thought or feeling with a calming signal to the brain and the body. And this is the essence of the nervous system regulation. It's helping your nervous system to downregulate and feel calm. This is going to give the body the same consistent experience of it feeling safe. Sometimes people feel anxiety and stress in their body, and sometimes they feel it in their brain, and sometimes they feel it everywhere. And so either way, this technique is a great way to do it. So I'm going to do just a short tapping sequence. It kind of looks funny, like I said. It looks weird and funny when you first do it or see it, but it works. And this technique is actually something that I was guided by a lot of practitioners when I was going through medical school, because the stress is real. I don't know if you realize what naturopaths have to do. It is a lot more intense than just conventional medical schools. We take on average 13 of 14 classes a quarter. A quarter is shorter than a semester. And so every quarter we have 13 of 14 classes. It's all the hard sciences, all the biologies, all the biochemistries, all the pathology courses, everything, right? That's medical school involved. But then on top of that, it's all of the natural aspects of medicine. So botanical medicine, Chinese medicine, physical medicine, nutrition. We get tons of nutrition. The mind-body connection, which this is part of mind-body connection therapies, and just so much more, right? Homeopathy, and the list goes on and on. So we learn a lot in a very short time. And so we were under constant stress. And anyone who's in medical school right now, especially in naturopathic medical school, I know some students watch this from naturopathic medical schools, and the stress is real. It starts to add up every quarter, every year. Some do it in a 4-year pathway, some is a 5-year pathway. Either way, it's a lot of stress. And so this technique, it's safe, it's gentle, it's not voodoo. It is just helping that mind-body connection, right? It's addressing the issue, facing it on, desensitizing the emotional response so that we can be calm to move forward. You could do it in your car. You could do it anywhere. You don't need anything but your body and your 2 little fingers, right, that you're going to use for tapping. So I always tell my patients to just sit comfortably, take a deep breath in through their nose and out through their mouth. And you maybe can just do a couple deep, relaxing breaths to bring in some oxygen, because oxygen helps the body will deliver that oxygen to the brain, which will help help it calm down, right? When we inhale and exhale, what happens is that our diaphragm moves up and down, and it also gives like a gentle little massage to the heart. So breathing gives a gentle massage to the heart, but also that inhale and exhalation slowly in through your nose at a count of like 3 seconds, holding your breath for a count of 3, exhaling out of your mouth for a count of 3, and holding the breath there for a count of 3, and doing this and just in a small rhythmic place. It's your whole diaphragm, your intestines, everything just relaxes, and then you'll feel it in your eyes, like this gentle, like subtle, like relaxation of your forehead and your eyes, and now you know, like, okay, you're in a calm state. Prior to this, I typically ask people, like, what is it you're worried about, stressing about? What is the fear? What is the thought? What is the emotion? So I mentioned earlier, people have test anxiety. So we can talk about fear, right? And we'll say fear in general. Right now, it's winter season. People are afraid of getting sick. So let's talk about doing it around being afraid of being ill. So once you're settled down and calm, you're going to, that if that's the biggest issue, right, which that's what we're going to do, we're going to take our hand, our right hand or left if you're dominant with left, and with your index finger and your middle finger, the ends of the fingers, unless you have long nails, don't stab yourself. I start from the top of the head, and you just tap a couple times in that part, not too hard, just gently tap on there. And this is where you're going to start to say your statement. So you will, like I said, focus this on not being afraid, right, of becoming ill. You can say, even though I'm afraid of getting sick from cold, from the flu, from COVID, I can still love and accept myself. And you tap for a couple of times, and then you go to the inner part of your eye, any eye. You do want to stay one-sided. You can alternate the next round to the other side, but you want to tap at the inner part of the eyebrow, and then you're going to say, even though I'm afraid of getting sick with COVID, I'm afraid of dying from COVID, I can still love and accept myself just as I am. And then the outer part of the eye, even though I'm afraid of getting sick with the cold, the flu, of getting sick with COVID, I can still love and accept myself the way I am. And you can alternate what you say. Under your eye, even though I'm afraid of becoming ill, I don't want to become ill, I'm afraid of becoming ill, I know that God protects me and keeps me safe, and I still love and accept myself just that way. Underneath the nose, above the lip, you're going to tap, and then you repeat the same statement. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, it can, but you're going to repeat it and say, even though I'm afraid of becoming ill with cold, a flu, with COVID, with any illness, it gives me anxiety, I know that God protects me. I know that I have a healthy immune system, and I still love and accept myself just as I am. And then you go underneath your lips, right above the chin, and you tap, and you say, even though I'm afraid of getting sick with COVID, I'm afraid of dying from COVID. Just say the real thing. What are you afraid of, right? I can still love and accept myself, and I know that God protects me. You can add those positive things. You can include God. I always say include God, but some people don't, so that's on them. And then the collarbone is the other part, right underneath the collarbone. You tap there. Even though I'm afraid of getting sick with the flu, I know that I am highly protected by God, and I still love and accept myself, even if I have that fear. And so then you go to the side of your rib cage, and you tap there by the bra line. Even though I'm afraid of being sick, I don't want to get sick. I'm afraid of being sick with the flu, the cold from COVID. I don't want to end up in the hospital. I can still love and accept myself, and I know that God protects me. So that's one round, right? And so you can do that another 2 times, and either from the same issue, and then check in with yourself. Okay, how do I feel? Do I feel less stress about it? Do I feel less anxiety about it? And if you do, then you're done. If you still feel that stressor, then go back and do it again until you find peace. Now, there's multiple things that you're, stressing about. You can go back and do it again, do those other topics that you're stressed about. And so I always like to add, whatever the thought and feeling that's stressing you out, mention it, but then also say, I can still love and accept myself, because that is the truth. I can be afraid of a lot of things, but I can still love myself and I can still accept myself. It's that shouldn't change. You should still love yourself. And you can call God into that equation and say, I know that God protects me, even though I'm afraid, right, of these things, even though I have anxiety of these things, even though I feel this way about myself, I can still see myself and love parts of who I am, even those parts that are not perfect, right? The imperfect parts of ourselves. And I'm not going to go into the debate about change and all that. That's not the point of this. This is to calm the nervous system down, right? Because we can really go down a pathway of, well, no, you shouldn't accept yourself as you are. What if you're, unhealed and so forth? That's not the point of this technique. This is not to start dealing with these other things. It's to calm the nervous system when it's been in fight or flight constantly. When you're going into a situation and you're stressed, maybe you're going to give a speech and you are terrified, like many people are, of speaking in public. This is a great technique. You can say, even though I'm afraid of speaking publicly, which is true, I can still love myself. That's true. I can still accept myself. I don't have to be hard on myself because I'm afraid of speaking in public, right? This just as an example. So you want to, come down with one or two things, three things, and repeat that tapping sequence, like I said, at least 3 times. And then you can check in, take a deep breath. Like I said, notice how your body is feeling after doing that sequence. Do you feel lighter, softer, more relaxed, more present, like not on the edge about it? Good. You're good. That's a great place to be. You can stop there. Or if you're still feeling like there's something lingering on, then do it again. And like I said, the really nice thing about this is you can do it anywhere. I want you to try it and maybe reach out. How did it make you feel? I know it sounds silly, looks silly, sounds weird, but when people do it, immediately their eyes, you could see a softness in their eyes, like they're sleepy. That's calm. That's being calm. Oftentimes people say, oh, I feel tired now. No, you're not tired. This is what relaxed feels like. But if you've been going 130 miles an hour all day, every day of your life, and now you're slowing down to 30 miles an hour, just like when we get off the freeway, right? Driving fast, get off to the surface streets, and it feels like you're going too slow. Yeah, that's normal. That's the normal. But, we live, like I said, we live in a world that we glamorize pushing and burning out. And so this is a great technique. It's a beautiful technique. I love EFT. It's simple. It's portable. Your body responds to it almost immediately. It costs you nothing. I mean, this is a great therapy that can really help you get out of those moments of anxiety, of panic, of fear, that it immobilizes you. You could do this in the morning, after a meeting, before taking a test, in the evening, after an argument, whatever it is, anything that's put you in that state, like you can do it. And you can use it as a preventative way to just keep your nervous system calm, right? It doesn't mean we still got to face the issue, but you're going to face the issue with a clear mind and a calm mind. A calm mind has clarity. Our prefrontal cortex is, when it's calm, it can think better. It can come up with better strategies, decision making, right? Because that's the part of our brain. It's the decision making part of us. And so it makes us more resilient from the inside out. We still have to face the issue. We're not running away from the issue. We're not trying to sprinkle magic fairy dust on the problem and pretend it's not there. That's not what this is about. This is about acknowledging the fear, the problem, the situation, and bringing your brain to a calm state, bringing your body to a calm state so that you can be calm and have clarity to make a better decision. Look, if you're constantly under high stress, you're high, strong person, you tend to make hastily decisions, like not the best decisions ever. But when your nervous system is calm, we think with more clarity. We can see with clarity, and we tend to make better decisions. So, like I said, this is just a resource, just a tool that I'm going to encourage more of my patients, and I encourage you to use it, put it as part of your tool on helping you, tapping, EFT, whatever, however you want to call it. The weird therapy, some people say, that helped me. You teach it to your kids how to do this. I used this technique on my daughter when she was like 5 or 6 years old. Kids lose their teeth when around that age. And the first tooth that fell out was fine. But the second tooth, she was terrified to see blood. And I thought, this is going to be a problem. She's a young girl. And one day she's going to have to deal with blood, unfortunately. And so I did EFT on her to address that. And it worked. So you could use this on your children, make it fun. Let's do our tapping technique. That way they can integrate that in their life. It's a tool. Use it. Don't use it. It's your choice. I'm just sharing something great that I have greatly benefited from. One of the things that helped me navigate the fear of failing through medical school. So it's a great technique. I hope you really enjoy it. And until next time, guys, be blessed. Thank you for listening to Physician Heal Thyself, the podcast. If you like what you've heard, please like, share, and subscribe. Help this message reach more people who may need to hear it. Leave your comments. I want to know what you think. If you're interested in learning more about Raices, visit our website at raicesndmedcenter.com. Until next time, be blessed.